From a kind of doctor perspective, what goes through our minds? Why do we get so obsessed with people that we've never met? What's happening?
Well, the psychological word for this is projection. And what we do is we project all of our dreams, all of our fantasies, everything that we want, sometimes our nightmares too, onto these people. And then we kind of connect to them in a particular kind of a way. And we can get really wound up and really hysterical about every single thing that they're doing.
Okay, so you're talking like it's normal, but is it healthy? Like, should I be worried about it?
It's totally normal, and it happens in every single relationship. But the thing about celebrities is because in some ways they're so far away, they kind of collect the people's projections really, really well. So we can throw all sorts of desires and fantasies onto them, and more so than regular people. Now, while anybody can get stuck up in that, if you really, really go for it, it can be a little bit unhealthy because then you move into sort of stalking and sort of getting really obsessive about people.
Our obsession with celebrity culture can't be defined in just one sentence, but Dr. Aaron Balicks' statement on the way in which we use celebrities as a vessel for our own hopes and dreams really struck me. Dr. Balicks has numerous blog posts on his website which brings psychoanalysis to different topics. A link to his website is in the description. It's the ideas of projecting one's hopes and dreams onto an individual you haven't met that, for me, is what the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is all about. Andrew Dominique's brilliant adaptation of Ron Hansen's book, which brings us the life and death of the infamous outlaw Jesse James by the hand of Robert Ford. What the film and subsequently the book are more about is a deconstruction of the obsession with celebrity. Now, it's perfectly fitting to have one of the biggest stars in Hollywood cast as your infamous outlaw to bring that critique even closer to the foreground. And Brad Pitt plays Jesse James with all the depravity and insanity that you would expect. But it's Casey Affleck who steals the film as the obsessive Robert Ford. The film presents us with a dynamic that feels all too familiar. Perhaps you have an individual that you look up to or want to be like. The idea of Jesse James is what Robert Ford aspires to be. From reading his dime novels about the outlaw, he finds himself awestruck in his presence, and often recounts, much to James's bemusement, about all the things that they have in common, or how he used to stay up to read his books, with James stating that they're all lies. What we often read about is almost always far from the truth. The bitter reality, one in which Ford learns very quickly, is that James is a self-destructive psychopath. And this is all too evident when James almost cuts Ford's throat, in a scene which shows just how far James actually is from his celebrity image.
I'll creep up behind that cashier, and I'll cock his head back like so. And I'll say, how come an offscouring of creation like you still sucking air with so many mining coffins? I'll say, how did you get to reach your 20th birthday without leaking out all of your clothes? And if I don't like his attitude, I will slit that filled doodle so deep he will flop on the floor like a fish. My God, what just happened?
Roger Deakins' masterful cinematography brings an air of mystery to James in the early stages of the film, as we the audience are put in the shoes of Ford. And whilst James isn't seen through some of the film, his presence is felt dramatically as he is almost presented as angelic or godlike. This, however, quickly changes for both us and Ford when we learn James's true identity. The shift of focus from being mysterious to a psychopath is very evident. Much of the film's brilliance not only comes from its deconstruction of the celebrity image, but also how it subverts your expectations of it being a typical Western. It plays with the conventions and turns the portrayal of character archetypes on its head. Characters such as Harmonica and the Man with No Name from Once Upon a Time in the West and the Dollars trilogy both have mysterious personas, and you don't really get to know an awful lot about them. As individuals, they remain cool people throughout because of their lack of depth. And whilst this is evident at the start of the assassination of Jesse James, we get to see behind the persona, behind the cool exterior, into a man who is embracing his own fate, embracing his own death. We live in a culture today that is obsessed with the idea of the celebrity image, with magazines and TV shows that scrutinise and meticulously delve into the lives of people who, for all intents and purposes, are at their core just like us, only human. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching my analysis of the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate your support. Chris Tate and George do some fantastic content. It is a much shorter video this week, shorter than the Blade Runner episode a while back. These videos will be very sporadic at the minute because I can't really find the time to sort of really commit to them, but I am working on a load more film reflections which will come to you in the near future. So thank you very much for watching this film reflection on the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.